Good morning. This Sunday, the Walk for Eating Disorder Awareness will get underway at Assiniboine Park. Joining us now with more is Elaine Stevenson from the National Eating Disorder Information Center. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, so happy to have you here because this is a topic that we want to raise some awareness for, and we'll get to the walk details in a little bit, but we want to talk about how prevalent eating disorders are here in Canada.
Well, that's why it's so important to create awareness about eating disorders. It's estimated by the #1 eating disorder specialist in Canada that almost 500,000 Canadians suffer from eating disorders. And that's young children, that's adolescents, that's older men and women. It's not just an illness, it's primarily women who suffer from eating disorders, but men also suffer as well.
Is there any research as to what the triggers are?
There's a multitude of triggers. Society's influences on the pursuit of thinness at all costs, maybe even your life. And some of the other triggers, well, it's a combination. It's a very complicated illness. It could be low body image, low self-esteem, genetics, neurotransmitters, all kinds of issues. But if you just take a look, you can't even go into a grocery store now and not see all kinds of magazines about with the message that you're not good enough the way you are and you better look like the magazine on the person on the cover. But even that's photoshopped, it's not real.
And I know you told me you have a very personal connection.
I certainly do. We lost our daughter Alyssa to anorexia and bulimia back on August the 27th, 2002. And together we were advocates trying to create awareness about eating disorders and push really hard for more treatment spaces and programs.
And she was just 12?
She was 12 when she was diagnosed.
Okay.
When she passed away, she was 24 years old.
So that just shows you the length of time that you can battle this.
Yeah, this is quite often. There were some times she was in hospital for 5.5 months. So it usually, and that's one of the extremely difficult issues right now facing us, not only in Manitoba, but across Canada, is the lack of programs and treatment spaces for people to get into. It's a very serious problem, which we hope will be addressed by the federal and hopefully the provincial governments.
Because you were saying that it's hard enough to get someone to agree to treatment and to get to that place where they are accepting of it, but then there's a huge wait here in Manitoba?
Oh, in Manitoba, for instance, to get into the Provincial Eating Disorder Prevention and Recovery Program, you could be waiting 6 months to 12 months to a year. And that's especially in the case of people who suffer from eating disorders. It's not only a mental illness, but there's very serious physical complications. Our daughter, case in point, she passed away from a heart attack. So, you know, it can have serious repercussions for your physical body and your major organs. So it's critical to have a specialist who's been trained in eating disorders, dealing with the emotional and mental illness, but also a medical doctor monitoring the physical complications and making sure that somebody doesn't have an electrolyte imbalance and a number of other early onset of osteoporosis, all kinds of problems like that.
That's why it's so important to take part this Sunday at Assiniboine Park. Registration at 9 a.m. The Walk for Eating Disorder Awareness. We'll put the links up, breakfasttelevision.ca, but you can see all proceeds going to the organization.
The Adolescent Eating Disorder Program at the Health Sciences Center, and it's a great program, and we hope people will come out and support us and hopefully save lives.
Well, thank you so much for being here today, and I'm sorry about the loss of your daughter.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks. More BT coming up. Stick with us.
BT Health is brought to you by Sindan Group of Pharmacies, a comprehensive approach to wellness.